Good morning, everyone, and welcome to 15 AI in 15. In 15 minutes, we're going to walk through one task and get it done every day with AI. Since you signed up, you'll get the replays and the prompts, any prompts that you see later in the day. We are going to have guest presenters. If you've got any thoughts on that, let me know. Or if maybe you want to present, then that would also be interesting. This is our first one, so please bear with if there are any technical kind of glitches or issues. Um, you might be wondering, who the hell am I? I'm Matthew Kershaw. I've had 20 years in content media and marketing and 6 years in AI, specifically at a AI video startup called DID. And now what I do is I help businesses build modern marketing engines, help teams use AI in practical and safe ways, structure workflows, and sort of build roadmaps that help people get to, better quality, speed, and obviously reduce cost. Um, but that's enough about me. A little bit about you guys. Before you signed up, I made you answer some questions, and I'm sure you'd like to know how they came out. In terms of your proficiency with AI, you're a pretty strong group actually. Uh, about two-thirds of you use it every day or at least once a week. But there is a good, strong proportion of you, about a third of you who said, you're either you're dabbling or maybe you feel like you're a bit behind. So we'll try and balance those sort of two different needs and not go too fast, but not go too slow. In terms of who you are, pretty diverse. You work across, marketing in that marketing ecosystem across brand, agency, production, quite a lot of freelancers and consultants. And I guess that kind of probably reflects my network, and that might shift as we move forward. Anyway, you said you wanted to learn quite a few different things, and these are quite a few things and split quite evenly across visual creation, prep for pitches, research, content creation, summarizing data. And we will definitely have all of that across these next 24 days. So just come along and you'll get everything you need. Right, let's start with today's topic, which is making it an ideas council. So the idea here is it's kind of a foundational thing, so it crosses actually quite a few of those topics. And the idea is that you can get a brief and you don't know where to start, or you've been given a project, you're like, oh, where do I get going with this? This will help you work across pitches. Maybe you need to name a project or a product. You might be trying to create social content or social concepts, stunts, mood boards, deck flows even. And the idea is that you choose your council, you get these really, really, diverse set of kind of thinking about your problem and giving you, some options of places to start. So it's really a way to get to ideas faster. And broadly speaking, it's a three-stage process. You define those personas that you want to be in your council, that you output that as a document. You put that into what they call a custom GPT. Um, and then once you've built your GPT, you can input briefs. One sort of bit of a watch out. This is a chat GPT thing, really. I think Claude has, I think something they maybe call projects, but really it is a chat GPT thing. So just that as a caveat. But very, very simple. So I guess let's get going. The brief I'm going to show you is a very, very classic brief, widely considered to be one of the best sort of, a well-written brief. It's for Johnny Walker in 1999. And it was a brief created by BBH a little bit before my time there, but I did work on the Johnny Walker brand on this, what became Keep Walking. We'll see how they got there. So I'm going to read the brief to you so you don't have to. At the end of every whiskey ad, the important guy who's just succeeded sits down and enjoys a drink. But that's not how successful people work. They just keep going and make new things even if they fail. Think of Steve Jobs. So Johnny Walker will become the whiskey that celebrates man's progress. We want to celebrate man's progress, but we also want to do it in a way that is unique to Johnny Walker. Four things make us unique. The bottle is square, not round, like most. The label is at an angle instead of straight. The whiskey is a blend and not a single malt. And our logo is a striding man. Any idea must have a basis in one of those four things. So that was the brief, right? So you might look at that and go, whoa, that's quite a lot. Where do I even start? So this is how you do it. So we're going to first of all set up and define our personas. I've chosen these five people. And as you can see, they're from sort of diverse, one's an author, one's a filmmaker, one's a fictional character. And you can have fictional characters. Cosmo Kramer is a character in Seinfeld. But there just has to be enough content about them and their point of view on the world and the way they think on the internet for it to work. So I'm going to just come out of this for a second uh, and go to ChatGPT. And you do have to do this, by the way, on the web version of ChatGPT. At the moment, they don't allow it on the app. So if you look down here, you've got your GPTs down here. Um, and if you go to explore, one of the options is create. It's a bit clunky, really. You have to go to explore and then the create button up here. So I'm going to go straight into that. And oh, sorry, actually, before that, sorry, I'm ignoring my own process, aren't I? Before that, we're going to new chat and we're going to create our personas. That's our step one, idiot. I'm even forgetting my own process. So I've got the prompt for that. As I said, you will get all these prompts later in the day, so don't worry about for now. I'm going to create there's going to be a website that hosts all this content. So here's my prompt. Let me just quickly walk you through the prompt. So you are creating a creative council made up of 5 individuals listed below. I've listed my individuals. Obviously, you can choose your own council and you might want multiple council. The task is to research each person in depth using publicly available information. You must not invent or speculate. Every insight must be grounded in truth. For each of the 5 names, gather insights into how they think, create, and make decisions, analyze their philosophy. And then basically what it's going to do is create a one-page persona for each of those individuals. I've told it, to do, oh, sorry, told it to talk about who they are, their motivators, all that kind of stuff, and output it in a specific format. So I'm going to get that going. Now, just to save time, in the classic Blue Peter style, here's one I made earlier. So what you do is it's going to take a little while to think about it, and annoyingly in ChatGPT fashion, it's even going to give me 2 different responses, which is quite annoying. So, but luckily I've got one of these kind of ready to go. So let me just zip to that. So this is kind of the output you'll get is for each personality, you get all these different stuff. And what I'm going to do, I've taken that response from ChatGPT and pasted it into a Google Doc in this place, but it could be a Word doc, whatever, notes. I'm going to download that. So I've got it to hand, download it as a PDF. It doesn't really matter too much the format you download it in. And now I'm going to do the clever bit. So I've got my document that has all my personas in it. And I'm going to go, as I said, to explore in GPTs, and I'm going to go create. And one of the things you can do is upload a knowledge file. So I'm going to upload that file that I've just created, AI in 15 personas. I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call it AI in 15 Idea Council. You can put other stuff there, descriptions. You can put an image if you want. And in terms of the instructions, so this is the second prompt. So there's 2 prompts you're going to get today. And the second prompt, I will just cut and paste into there. And it's asking me, what does this GPT do? How does it behave? What should it avoid doing? All that stuff. And I've put in here um, a prompt. You are the creative council, 5 minds drawn from the uploaded document personas. When you work, read the brief, research it, draw on each persona, blah, 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 and put it and output it in this format and be grounded in truth, connect to reality. Each persona owns their own voice and tone. So that's the instructions. And then literally you just press create. Obviously, you can fiddle around with this in your own time and do what you want. You then have to choose, is it just something for you? And obviously, if this is something for work and it holds sensitive data, make it only for you. In this case, I'm going to do anyone with a link, so you guys can link to this later on, and I save it. And that's it. We've got 4 minutes to go. So Um, and what I might do is just quickly just get that, copy and paste that original brief, that Johnny Walker brief we walked through, and um, right, so that's done. Um, so I'm going to view the GPT. Okay, here we are, AI and 15 Idea Council. And I'm literally just going to post in that brief that I walked you through, the Johnny Walker brief, and see what it says. Just going to think for a moment, usually pretty quick, although making the personas can take a little while because it's got to do research. The output of the answers is quite slow. So you'll recall that brief was about, progress and but how do we ground it in the truths of Johnny Walker's square bottle and angled label and so on. So I'm going to run through, I won't run through them all, but I'm going to run through in the next couple of minutes some of the outputs because I think I've done this before and I know they're usually pretty good. So Steven Spielberg, film director, something wonderfully human in this notion of progress. So he wants to sort of build it in the here, both in humanity, but also you'll see in drama. So, he's talking about the hero sits back and drinks, but the moment between the moments, the stumble, the recalibration, the small discovery that keeps someone moving. He's talking about the angled label. It already contains a sense of momentum or a story that refuses to stand still. And he gives some examples. And then he does it cinematically. The camera glides from their hand to the bottle's angled label, the subtle suggestion of forward motion, not celebrating the victory, celebrating the choice to continue. So that's a really interesting angle, isn't it? Choice to continue. So it's grounding it more in you than the product, an emotional truth. Cosmo Kramer, so he's a kind of comedy character. I don't know if you watch Seinfeld, but one of my favorite characters. You want to celebrate progress? Great. You know what progress looks like? It looks like a square bottle sliding across a table without rolling off and smashing on the floor. So he's talking about kind of, everyday innovation, wild, kinetic little vignettes where people are on the move. Things go sideways. That square bottle shows up as the one stable thing in the room. It doesn't roll, it doesn't spin, it stays solid while life wobbles. That's Johnny Walker's ethos. Whiskey built for people who keep moving because standing still is the dangerous part. And, some ideas there. Malcolm Gladwell always wants to do counterintuitive stuff. Um, he's talking about the angled label becomes a metaphor perspective. When you tilt the world slightly, patterns emerge that aren't visible head on. It's less an add, more of a reframing. Progress isn't linear, it's blended. And that's what makes it powerful. So there's quite a few of these. I'm going to wrap that up now because I feel like we haven't got much more time. So what I'm going to just quickly do is go back here. So tomorrow's, try it out. A few things to bear in mind, tinker around with the teams that don't just settle with the first one. Try it and see how different briefs work. Definitely better for open-ended questions where there isn't a specific right or wrong answer. Tomorrow's session, moving on, is we're going to take an event, a talk, a podcast, could be anything where there's, again, quite a lot of content and show you how to turn that into multiple bits of smaller content, a white paper, an article, a post for social, a carousel, so on, to engage your audience and generate leads. I will see you tomorrow. That was over very quickly. If you've got any ideas, please submit them using this QR code. Um, uh, and obviously, if you're interested in talking, you think you know someone who could do one of these quick sessions, then let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks very much.